All right. We are chapter 25, verse 10.
25 verse. Oh, I said 24 before. Sorry.
We're 25, aren't we?
Yes, you are. You
Yeah.
are. I made a mistake before.
Right. So now they're going to start building the tabernacle. That's what's, or no, sorry. Now they're going to get the instructions for building the tabernacle. They're not actually building it yet. These are just the instructions.
All right, so before we go any further,
We haven't even started. What do you mean further?
well, you did start.
We're just dabbing.
So you said we're getting instructions for building the tabernacle. We're actually getting instructions for building the ark.
Well, this is the beginning of the, yes. But if you look at before, verse 8, let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell amongst them. Exactly as I show you the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all its furnishings, so shall you make it. And the first thing they tell us about is the ark.
Okay.
But it's part of the larger set of rules and instructions on building the tabernacle,
Okay.
I believe.
First question I have is, what is a cubit?
From the tip of your middle finger to your elbow, about 1.5 feet.
Okay, a cubit.
About 1.5 feet is a cubit. Am I right about that? I'm right about that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So that's interesting.
Oh, Lord.
It's not even very big.
No, because it ends up being 3 3/4 feet long, 2 1/4 feet wide, and 2 1/2 feet high.
Right.
And that's going to house the tablets. So the tablets weren't very big.
Well, so
Right.
not just the tablets. It's the second set of tablets plus the first set of
I know,
tablets
but
that were
broken pieces
broken.
will fit. Broken pieces will fit in places where formed pieces have more
Right.
difficulty.
Right. It also had the hold on, there was something else. Aaron's rod and a pot of manna.
Oh, really? What were they
Yeah.
doing with a pot of manna, if I may ask?
You know, I read a commentary about that. I don't see it here, but what I remember from the commentary was that it was for us to remember the miracle of the manna.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember. Gosh, I wish I could. Let me see if I can find something about.
So wait a minute, hold on. So Aaron's rod is different from Moshe's rod?
Yeah.
They each had one.
So how could Aaron's rod be put in the tabernacle?
No. Wait a second. Oh, no, that's right. Hold on. The Bible tells us, along with Moses' rod, that Aaron's rod was endowed with miraculous power during the plagues of Egypt.
Okay.
There are 2 occasions where the Bible tells of the rod's power, even when it was not being held by its owner. It's cited twice in Exodus 7. God sends Moses and Aaron to Pharaoh once more, instructing Aaron that when Pharaoh demands to see a miracle, he casts down his rod and it becomes a serpent.
Right, okay.
So that's Aaron's rod. And then in Numbers 17, in the story of Korach, it says, in order to stop the complaints of the Israelites, God commands that each of the 12 tribes provide a rod, and only that of the tribe chosen to become priests will miraculously sprout overnight. Aaron provides his rod, and it puts forth buds, produced blossoms, and bore ripe almonds.
Okay. All right. So I'll accept that. Now, where is it?
Oh my goodness.
Where is it stated that those two, that Aaron's rod and manna are put in the tabernacle with the tablets?
Right, in Wikipedia.
Okay. Okay.
Which cites
Primary sources.
which cites a book from 2000 by Susan Ackerman called The Ark of the Covenant.
Again, primary source.
I know, I'm working on it.
Where's your list, Dina?
What list?
There's got to be.
You're arguing about these primary sources. So
I'm saying they're not primary sources. That's the whole point.
I understand what you're saying.
I don't have a list because this is the first time I've ever heard that more than just the tablets were in the ark.
So in Kings 8:9, it says there was nothing in the ark save the 2 tablets of stone which Moses put there at Horeb when the Lord made a covenant with the children of Israel and they came out of the land of Egypt. So in the book of Hebrews, which is not one of ours, it says a golden censer, meaning Aaron's rod. Sorry, that's different. It says a golden pot that had manna, Aaron's rod, and the tablets of the covenant.
Okay, but that's not our tradition.
I know.
So we can't say that they were there. Because our tradition says that only the tablets were there.
No, I've read this somewhere else. Where was it?
Where did you first read that his rod was there? The very first one at the start of this conversation.
Wikipedia, but it doesn't give a good citation.
Yeah.
But I remember learning it myself. And
Now that's a good primary source.
yeah. But I
Yeah,
can't.
because he was there.
Yeah, but I can't remember.
What's furnishing shall you make it? Two and a half pure gold. Inside and out.
This is a really good question. I don't know. I distinctly remember learning this, but I can't find the.
Your primary source.
Yeah. I wonder. I bet you it's got to be a It's got to be one of the Meforshim.
Well, I have to tell you that every commentary that I have in front of me, they all say to house the tablets. They don't say anything else.
Yeah. Wonder why I would have learned that. All right. Well, we don't have to dwell on it. That's really interesting, though. Ackerman, too. Who's this Ackerman? I think I know her. Susan Ackerman.
I know Susan Ackerman from elementary school, so it's not she. I know that.
So she's an American Old Testament scholar at Dartmouth College.
Wow.
I bet you I read her book. I bet you that's why I know it. But I can't find her book. I don't know if I can find it right now. Ark of the Covenant. Oh, well. Well, that might be something to look up. Interesting. Okay. Well, let's start reading it and see what the Torah tells us about it. Lenore, do you want to read for us?
Sure, number 10.
Sure.
Is that everybody's gotten to there? Okay. They shall make an ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubit long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1.5 cubits high. Overlay it with pure gold. Overlay it inside and out, and make upon it a gold molding round about, wherever that is.
Yeah.
I have a question, and I'm going to ask it now in case people know about this. But I did read a little further. I don't usually do that, but I did. And gold, they keep talking about pure gold and make it of pure gold or do it something else with the gold. How did they have the ability? Do you know anything about what they could do mechanically or whatever it is to know that it was pure gold? Because it's mentioned on a couple of occasions, as you'll see, we come along. Did they have a special thing that they made pure gold out of? I mean, is that they knew that the gold was pure or not? How did they figure that out?
If you look on page 488 in Eitz Chaim, Lenore, there's a note that says pure gold. Such gold has undergone many steps in the refining process, which frees it of all impurities, so that it becomes of the highest grade.
Yeah, I actually I did see that. I can't figure out though how they were able to do that in those years. It just boggled me that they could, come to something. So refining something is difficult. It's not just a simple process usually. I won't dwell on it, but if you'll see different places where it has to be pure gold, and all of a sudden they just have to start making gold pure, and then they can use gold that isn't pure. I was just wondering.
Hello, I have something on our last conversation. I have a primary source for you. Okay.
Me?
For Dina. In Exodus 16, verse 32 and 33, then Moses said, this is the thing which the Lord has commanded, fill an omer with it to be kept for your generations, that they may see the bread with which I fed you in the wilderness when I brought you out of the land of Egypt.
Mom, what is that again? Exodus what?
16, verses 32, 33. And Moses said to Aaron, take a pot and put an omer of manna in it and lay it up before the Lord to be kept for our generations. This is coming up. I looked up the contents of the ark, okay? So the two unbroken tablets of stone containing the 10 Commandments, the omer, which I just read to you, and let's see what else. And Numbers 17, 7 and 8. And Moses placed the rods before the Lord in the tabernacle of witness. Now it came to pass on the next day that Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron in the house of Levi had sprouted and put forth buds, had produced blossoms and yielded ripe almonds.
Okay, thank you. But it does say, I'm looking for my other translation. Hold on. This is 1632. Aaron placed it before the ark. Not in, but before.
But then Moses, what I just read from Numbers said Moses put it in.
So the note that I have here is that it was put before the ark, but that's because at this point they didn't have an ark. It says here, it was made of glass so the manna could be seen. Until the tabernacle was built, they kept it before the high place where they offered sacrifice. And then apparently once the tabernacle was built, according to the Mefarshim at least, they put it inside.
Well, that's logical.
So let's say that there were three things in there in this 2 and, what did we say?
It's, where is it? 3 3/4 by 2 1/4 by 2 1/4.
Okay, so it could fit on my dining room table here. I have a round dining room table. It could fit on here. And it had the 3 items in it. And I suppose the gold on the outside of the wood would help make it very strong for lifting and moving to hold those items that were in there. The rod could not have been very tall or big.
Well, diagonally, I can't do the math in my head, but diagonally, the square of the hypotenuse is.
We don't know how tall Aaron was, so we don't know what length of rod he might have needed to move along.
Hey,
But-
pull out your math book, Tina.
Yeah,
but it seems like it's a fairly small item. And so the stones, the tablets, or the pieces of them had to also not be too big,
Right.
or, too terribly heavy, because this ark was moved a great deal.
Well, no. When we get to moving the ark, we'll find out that people didn't move the ark moved the people.
Okay.
But also, what it says is that rather than the box, what I have is rather than the box
Yeah.
being coated and lined with gold, it's actually 3 boxes.
Well, now wait a minute.
Right.
Let me see.
A box within a box within a box?
Yeah, can you see that?
And the gold on the outside.
Move it to the right a
Wow.
little bit, Dina.
So to your right or my right?
You're right. A little more. There you go.
I have no picture of it.
Click on the picture at the bottom, Lenore.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So there's a gold box inside, and then a wooden box, the acacia wood, and then a gold box outside.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be sturdy. And look how it gets smaller at the top, this particular image. I don't know where they got that from, but...
Well, it gets smaller at the top because the inside box has to be smaller than the...
No, but it looks...
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That's the angle of the picture. They're actually straight sides.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. The book was tilted. Oh, thank you.
Now I've tilted it.
Oh, okay. But for us, it now looks straight. Yeah. Well,
So-
it's a pretty small vehicle.
Yes.
Interesting. So the tablets,
Yeah,
that's what worries me the most, not Aaron's rod or the Omer.
But
I was thinking about the tablets.
Tablets could stack, and we are talking about something that's a yard long.
3 feet. Okay.
Right, if those tablets are 1.5 feet long, and they're made out of stone, that's pretty heavy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rabbis made a lot out of the 3 boxes and the fact that it was inlaid and overlaid with gold. I was looking up in the Talmud in Tractate Yoma. It cites this verse. It says "Mibaiti michutz titzapenu," which means inside and outside you should overlay it with gold. And then it says Amar Rava, that Rava says Kol Talmid Chacham, every learned person, she'ein tocho kavaro, eno Talmid Chacham. Any learned person whose toho, whose insides are not like his outsides, is not a learned person.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a very, very beautiful teaching. I very often I'll use this when I'm doing funerals and people describe their loved ones as a very beautiful person on the outside. I'll talk about how, toho kavaro, that their outsides were just as beautiful as their insides. And there's also a teaching in Pesachim, in the Gemara in Pesachim, that says that God despises 3 types of people. And that one of those people is echad bepeh ve'echad belev. One person by mouth they have one persona by mouth and one persona in their heart, meaning that they externally express something while internally they feel different about it.
I have basically that comment, but I also have Beis Halevi derives from this inner outer coating of gold that the community should feel a responsibility to provide an adequate livelihood to its teachers of Torah. They should be prosperous inside their own homes as well as in their outer service of the public.
I like that one. I don't buy it, but I like it.
I wonder who wrote that.
Probably a rabbi who was negotiating his contract.
Exactly.
So it says here that Rashi has a detailed comment on the gold inside and out. That Bezalel, so Bezalel is the artisan who's going to make all this, made 3 arks, 2 of gold and 1 of wood. Each of them had 4 sides and a bottom, but was open on top. He put the wooden ark inside one of the golden ones and the other golden one inside the wooden one, then plated the upper edge with gold. The result was that it was overlaid inside and out. And the gold molding is a kind of crown surrounding and above the upper edge of the ark, making the outer ark taller than the 2 inner ones, matching the thickness of the cover and somewhat above it. When the cover rested on the upper rims of the 2 inner arks, the molding would extend somewhat higher than the cover. It was symbolic of the crown of Torah.
Wow.
Oh,
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Every little thing has a meaning of its own. Wasn't there a song like that once?
If not, there will be soon.
you just gave him another idea.
Just as a note, the dimensions, the 2.5 cubits and all that, it says here we do not know whether these were internal or external dimensions. If external, hold on a second. Where the hell does this continue? Oh, it's Ibn Ezra. If external, we may presume that the 1/2 cubit of each dimension accounted for the thickness of the sides, in which case the internal dimensions were 2 cubits by 1 cubit. And since the tablets completely filled it, the tablets were each 1 cubit by 1 cubit. If they were each 1 cubit high, as would seem to be the case, then they were extremely heavy. Perhaps God gave Moses' arms special strength so that he could carry them down. Such a tablet would have 6 sides. Oh, because the front,
top and bottom.
right, front, back, top, bottom, and then the sides.
Sides.
But 32:15 tells us that the tablets were inscribed on the one side and on the other. And perhaps that is how it was. In any case, the ark seems surprisingly heavy. Now, the 29 talents and 730 shekels used for the tabernacle is less than 1/3,400th of the 100,000 talents of gold used in Solomon's temple. Yet Solomon made even the kruvim of olive wood. Hence, we conclude that in the tabernacle there were not 2 gold arks with a wooden one in between, but a wooden ark with a thin overlay of gold for appearance's sake. Only the lampstand was of solid gold. Okay, so Ibn Ezra disagrees with Rashi that there were 3 boxes because he says it just would have been too heavy, and they didn't use that much gold. They wouldn't have had enough gold for 2 full boxes of gold, because in 38:24 we learn how much gold they used, and it wouldn't have been enough.
Wow. He cares even more than I do.
Well, he's concerned with not physically, whatever the word is. How are they going to schlep this thing around?
Exactly. That's what I was wondering.
Right.
How
And
did
he gives us insight into maybe how big those tablets were. So 1.5 by 1.5 is how big the tablets were, according to him.
But they weren't whole, right? They
No,
were.
according to him, yeah, right. I'm sorry. 18.
No, they were whole. The tablets, they were whole.
There were
solid.
also broken pieces.
And they were broken pieces.
And the
right.
broken. Okay.
I wish
I
they
guess
gave
didn't
us.
have wheels, and I don't know how they could have wheeled in the
No,
wilderness.
if you look back at that picture that Dina put up, you'll see little rings.
Yeah, we didn't
in the
get
side for rods to go
we
through.
haven't got far enough to.
Oh, yeah, the thing with the poles, right? They had poles.
Right, there were poles with or rods that went through, and men would carry on their shoulders.
Right, right.
I'm gonna pull up a picture that we can all see. Well, here's a picture of here, let me share this with you. So that's a picture of the people
Yeah.
carrying it on their shoulders.
Gee, I would have thought it was taller. Oh, no, it would have been wider.
It's longer.
Yeah, that's what I mean, longer.
But it's
Yeah.
interesting because those don't look like poles.
No, they look like more like flat rods or something.
Yeah.
We'll have to
And
see.
yours
Yeah,
had rings, round rings.
right. We'll have to see how that was all built. We haven't gotten to there yet.
Yeah. Making the round rings, making the rods would have been harder than the flat-sided bars that we saw going through, you know?
Well, can you put that picture up once more? Would you mind?
Sure. Hold on a second. I'm just looking for. I actually lost it, I think. Oh no, here it is.
I want to see what that artwork was.
Angels on top.
Was that? I wonder if that's a cherubim. They mentioned cherubim.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the cherubim.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I know.
So-
I know. Didn't know that.
Ah, look at all these takes on it. A lot of them with round rods.
Yeah.
They did a lot of carrying.
I'm not sure that's a good representation. Let me. Most of them are.
Looks a little modern.
Yeah, it does.
What kind of wood is that? Bamboo? The strength of the wood?
Acacia wood. It says.
That would be the poles were acacia.
The coals are gold-plated acacia. Yeah, we didn't get there yet.
Yeah.
Dina doesn't want us to move too quickly.
But
now.
it's very it's very interesting when we get there because I want to talk a little bit about the staves.
Oh, okay.
The who's?
The stave,
Pole?
the poles.
That's a nice one. I don't know if that's what it looked like, but it's a nice one.
It's not gold. Yeah, if they're supposed to be gold plated, those don't look plated. But I still wonder about the roundness. You know, that's difficult to get. What tools would they have had to help round those pieces of wood out?
Unless they did the stems, the branches on the acacia. I don't know. I don't know what an acacia tree really looks like. But if they were, we
didn't get there yet, but my book says that the ends of the poles were wider than the middle so that the poles would never fall out accidentally.
There's acacia wood.
Ah, oh my.
It's a nice floor.
Lovely, lovely.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Let's keep going and see what we find. So verse 12.
Verse 12. Okay.
Can I just, sorry, I just want to point something out that,
Cast for.
so see how, it's very interesting on this one. Oh wait, you can't see it. Sorry. Bear with me a second. On this picture, see how the rings and the rods are up higher?
Yeah.
But on this, wait, I have to get out of it. But on, where is it? Where did I see it? But here. But on this one, they're down lower.
Yeah, that's,
So
yeah.
I would have assumed them to be higher, but if you look at the text that we're about to read, it actually says they were by the feet.
Want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Cast 4 gold rings for it to be attached to its 4 feet. 2 rings on one of its sides, one of its side walls, and 2 on the other.
Okay, my translation says sides, corners.
So mine says sides, the side walls, which is what Lenore said. Let's see.
You said,
Yeah, side walls. And 2 on the other.
So unculus, so wait a second. It says here, hold on a second.
but so where did you think that it said at the bottom, at the feet?
Sworno
because it
says it's at the bottom.
It says 4 gold rings to be attached to its 4 feet.
Where? Where's
Beginning of that.
Right. So there's a debate about where. So the unculus says it means it's four corners, the upper corners.
All right, now wait a minute. So it's very interesting. If the rings were at the bottom, then it makes more sense for, oh God, what was his name? Who went to try to catch the ark because it was tipping.
No.
He's not, Rabbi David, you're not listening to me.
Sorry, I was reading a commentary. Go ahead.
Who was it that died because he reached out to stabilize the ark because it was tipping?
Yeah. What's his name? With King David. Uziel, something like that.
Yeah. So that would make more sense if the staves were closer to the bottom, because if they're closer to the top, it's going to be more stable. It would be much less likely to tip, even with the cherubim on the top.
Right.
So Sforno says, and 2 rings shall be on the side of it. The Sforno disagrees with Rashi and other commentators regarding the positioning of the rings on the ark. He's of the opinion they were placed at the corners of the bottom rim, not at the top near the ark cover. And they were to be placed along the length, not the width. For the word salotov, used here by the Torah is opposed to tzad, which means length.
Right. So Nachmanides has a nice commentary. He says that Rashi explains nicely that this really means 4 corners with a ring on each corner. But I do not understand why he assumes that the rings were on the upper corners under the cover, where the weight would be much greater. In any case, the respectful way to do it would be to have the ark borne aloft above the shoulders of the priests, not below them. Okay, so that's an argument for having them at the bottom. Because then, like you carry a casket nowadays. When you carry a casket, you carry it above your shoulders. Ibn Ezra insists that the Hebrew word translated here never means anything but feet anywhere in the Bible, meaning the rings were attached to its feet. He further explains that our verse describes 8 rings, 4 on the bottom for carrying the ark, and 4 on the top for decoration. That's like when Apple's new MacBook Pro, on either side, there are grills, little grills on either side of the keyboard, which look like speaker grills. They're not. The speakers are on the bottom. They're just there for decoration. This is a very Apple-y Johnny Ive kind of thing to do. If we have 4 rings on the bottom, we're going to put 4 on the top also. But then Nachmanides says, but he is completely wrong. If he were right that the ark stands on 4 feet, then our verse is commanding that the rings be placed on the 4 bottom corners on which the ark sits. Feet would simply be a metaphor. Hebrew frequently refers to objects in human terms, the top being the head and the bottom being the foot. In fact, this is just how it was. The rings were on the 4 lower corners of the ark, which was carried above the shoulders of the priests, as I have explained. In my opinion, however, the word does not mean feet, but paces. This meaning works as well in the Song of Songs 7:2 as does feet. So there's another. The paces referred to in our verse are those of the priests carrying the ark. The implication of the rings being attached next to the paces is twofold. 1, that the rings should be right at the bottom of the ark on which it rests, and 2, that the rings should be at the very corners, a pace, 1 arc length apart from one another. For the ark was set with its long sides on the east and west, 2 rings on the north side, one on the east and the west, and 2 on the south side.
But we just read it was width, not length.
Okay, so this is a disagreement. The paces of the priests would go between the rings, 2 behind the ark and 2 in front of it.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh, so they would not be right alongside the ark. They'd be before it and after it.
I guess so.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, that makes sense. If the poles go through the rings, you would stand in front and behind it.
Yeah.
And the ark had to be on top of you. I like the idea. I mean, I understand that from a physics perspective, it probably makes more sense to have the rings at the top. But I like the idea that the rings are at the bottom so that the ark can be carried above their shoulders.
No, I think for physics, it would be better they said it would be easier to carry if it were on the bottom. Oh, I see. You're talking about that balancing act where the man. Yeah.
Although then again, if there are 4 people, maybe it's not a big deal. I don't know. I just think about, when movers are moving a chest, they never lift it above their shoulders. It's always, they're always carrying it from down a little bit below for stability, I guess, for balance.
Oh.
I never thought to notice.
I'm still interested in whether the rings, when they say there are rings on the side, does that mean they had to be circular so that the poles going through had to be circular?
Right.
Or could rings have been, a rectangle that a plank of wood of acacia could go through?
And they were covered in gold on top of whatever shape they were.
Right.
Okay, wait. So poles of acacia wood. The wood is used here as it is in Ezekiel, where it says, it became a vine, produced branches, and sent out boughs. They branched out, quote unquote, branched out from the ark on either side. Notice the dimensions of the poles are not given. Okay.
Oh.
They're branches. That's what I was talking about. Branches.
So man did not create those poles.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I think I think they're using it metaphorically, that they branched out from the ark.
Okay. They're just, yeah.
Okay, I went ahead and this is going to make just more confusion. 25, 26. Actually, we can go back to, oh, never mind. I'm sorry. That's a table. Never mind. It's not the ark.
Oh.
Well, because the table actually talks about attach the rings to the legs and then do something near the top. See, I don't see anything in my thing unless I'm missing it about legs.
Yeah, in verse 13. Yeah, 14.
We didn't get there yet.
No. Sorry, that's not it. It's verse 12.
I see mine has corners. What's the Hebrew word?
Pamotav.
Which means?
Feet or corners. Let me look it up. Pa'amotav. Pa'am means a tie.
Gold staves. I think I have my answer about the poles.
What you got?
Well, in 14, where you happen to have us look, or 13 and 14, it says you make staves of acacia wood. So I looked up what are staves of wood, and I get that a stave of wood is one of the individual strips of wood that form the sides of a barrel. Now I could see them, I can see them using that shape.
So that's flat.
Yeah, because it's easier for them to, smooth, get the splinters out of or whatever, than to round that piece of wood and then cover it with gold in a round shape. It just seems like it would be an easier object for them to create.
So according to sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all.
According to the dictionary, the noun form of pa'amotav means foot, anvil, or occurrence. Poetically, it can be used to mean hoofbeat, footfall, footstep, foot. It sounds to me like this is foot.
It's not mine.
No, it's in the background over here. Sorry. I think it means foot, Tina.
Okay. All right. So it's interesting that almost all of the pictures, almost all of the representations that we've seen have these staves being round rather than almost like flat planks. But the thing that interests me the most is that the commentaries I'm seeing are that the ends of these staves, rods, whatever you want to call them, are wider than the other part so that they won't fall through the rings. So it's kind of a matter of, they didn't make the rings and then put in the staves. They actually had to put the rings around the staves when they attached them.
Or they weren't rings.
Whatever it is, they have to be snug enough so that they fit around the middle. But when you get to the ends are bigger. You can't slide that through after you've made.
No, but suppose you have on the side, instead of a round ring, you have a thing like this clamped to the side and the top is open. You can slide the stave into.
You can't have the top open and then carry that on your shoulders.
Oh, true.
And if you have the bottom open, they're going to fall out. And the point is that they have to be permanently attached.
Ah, all right. Okay.
So they had to actually construct whatever it is that's holding those with them in it. Although it doesn't say that.
Unless, wait, I just had a picture. Where to go? Unless it looked like this, where there were like, see how there are, whoops, sorry about that.
Yeah, because that goes the width. That's the width.
Right, but
The
see
others
how,
show the length.
see how there are knobs at the end though, that kind of keep, almost like not a washer, what do you call those things that you put at the end of a screw?
A nut. Or
A nut.
A bolt or
Right, it's
whatever.
almost like there's a nut at the end of each one.
But that's the only picture that shows the rods going the width, not the length of it. You see
Right.
that?
No, that's not true.
What's
That's
not true?
Well, that's
What's
the
not true?
first one I've seen. Most of the others look like they're going the length of the arc. A lot of them look like the length.
Yeah, they
Well,
are.
I can't see now.
Most of them look like they're going the length.
Yeah, they have to be behind the cherubim.
No, the question is, do they go the long way or the short way?
I understand that. So in
Yeah.
order to be correct, they have to be behind, the poles have to be behind the cherubim.
That's right.
I don't understand what that means.
On
Because
either side,
the
if
cherubim
it goes the width
side
of the box,
of the width.
if
the
it
long
goes the
side.
width of the box, you have the cherubim up on top, and the poles will be behind at the back of each of the angels.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Why do they poles have to be behind?
Because the poles have to be in such a way that the width of the tabernacle doesn't have the poles.
Doesn't have the poles,
The width doesn't have the poles.
but that's
No, I'm
not.
sorry. The length doesn't have the poles. The width,
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
But why again? Why is that necessary?
Because we said that.
I know. I just don't understand why.
So that they can be at the back of each of the cherubim.
Because you read before that the priests walk, I forget what you said, but what we said was that the length was between the priests. That's what you read before. It was some
Right, but
Hebrew word.
if the length was between the priests, then it would have to be like this.
No,
Yes.
not the length between the priests. If the priests are on those poles, then the width, the short part is between the priests.
Well,
right.
No, but both directions are between the priests because you've got priests in the front and priests in the back and priests on the right and priests on the left. So either way, right, you got a priest up here and a priest back here, and there's
Yeah,
the
but
length.
they're all walking in one direction. So we're talking about this ark being between them. Its width being between them from left to right because they're all walking forward.
Well, but does it say that? Because where is that?
I don't know. Where was
You
that?
found it. You found that before.
Don't
It
blame
was
it on
something
me.
with two Hebrew words that were very similar.
I think I was reading Sforno. Oh, no, that was between the, hold on. 2 rings shall be on one side of it. Sforno disagrees with Rashi. That they should be at the bottom, not near the top. Hold on. And they were to be placed along the length, not the width. For the word salai used here by the Torah as opposed to tzad, which means
Okay.
length.
Okay, so they were to be placed along the length, so they go from cherubim to cherubim, not behind.
So where did you just read that it should be behind?
That's what I thought you said before.
No, that's not in Sforno. I thought you just had a.
So the picture in my sanctuary book then is wrong.
So it's going the length, not the width.
should
If
go-
you
it should
listen,
go-
Sforno, Rashi, does Rashi have it going the length or the width?
I have a picture in my stone chumash that has it going behind the cherubim. My picture in the tabernacle book has it going behind the cherubim, and yet what you just read says it should go from cherub to cherub.
All right, let's try this. This is Ibn Ezra. Wait, let me get out of my thing here. All right, so this is Ibn Ezra, and he says, since the verse literally continues, and 2 rings on one of its side walls and 2 on the other, there must have been 8 rings altogether. One of the scholars of our generation has understood this, explaining that the poles were placed in the rings at the feet of the ark and moved from the lower to the upper rings when it was time to pick it up. Now it questions about its sidewalls. One troublemaker thinks that the word here cannot refer to the sidewalls, but only to the long sides. He cites 2620, where it is used for the long north side of the tabernacle. But his refutation is right next to him in 2627, where the word is also used for the short west side. So we don't know. The bottom line is we don't know that the same word, salo, is used for the long side and the short side elsewhere in the Bible.
Okay. So we don't know much.
We don't know much.
We don't know which sides the poles were on. We don't know if they were poles or planks, and we don't know if it was upper or lower.
Right.
And it's only 4 rings, according to Rashi, not 8.
And we don't know if there are 4 or 8 rings. So after 50 minutes, we now know less than we did when we started this, this process.
So the idea of the 8 rings doesn't make sense with other commentaries. Number one, if whatever is used to carry the ark is wider on the ends, unless you talk about your nut concept, they can't be moved once they're in, and they're not supposed to be moved because you might accidentally touch the tabernacle.
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
They shouldn't be moved because you might accidentally touch the tabernacle while
the poles, right.
So there's no reason for the extra 4 rings. Whatever holders are there for the carrying device has to be permanent.
Right. Yeah, the
looking a little confused.
The idea of 8 rings comes from a very, very close reading. So it says, cast 4 gold rings for it to be attached to its 4 feet. 2 rings on one of its side walls and 2 on the other. I believe there, wait a second. That would be 16 rings.
How many sides are you having?
I'm really confused.
So that wouldn't be 16.
Well, if you have 4 gold rings attached to 4 feet, that's 16. Where did they get 8 from?
No. cast 4 rings and place them on its 4 corners. 4 rings, 4 corners.
Yeah.
So where's 8 from then?
2 rings on one side and 2 rings on the second side.
That's still 4.
That's still 4.
Yes, but what they're just, it's just being described where they're going. In other words, you don't always put it on the left side of the corner as you turn the box.
We're just counting rings. It's
I know.
4 rings. That's all I count. No matter how you turn the box.
That's
2 on one side, 2 on another makes 4.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
So where do the 8 come from? And then the 6?
Because who was it? Rashi or somebody?
No, Rashi says only 4.
So who said 8?
Ibn Ezra, I think. Here we go. Hold on. Sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, Ibn Ezra says 8 rings. He says, since the verse continues and I see where he's getting it. I got it. Okay. So in verse 12, it says, cast 4 gold rings for it to be attached to its feet, period. Then it says, ushte tabaot, and 2 rings on one of its side walls, and 2 rings on the other side of its side, on the other side walls. So it's that vav. It's the vav again. This is great, actually. So the verse says, cast 4 gold rings for it to be attached to its feet, full stop. Then it says, and he's reading, in addition to those 4, make 2 on one of its side walls and 2 on the other side walls.
So the widths were going to have 2 rings each, and the lengths were going to have 2 rings each.
Possibly. He doesn't. We don't know. We don't know. Maybe the purpose is just decorative. It's the apple. It's just decorative.
But am I right that it's 2 on this length, 2 on this length, then 2 on for non-use on the 2 sides that are the width?
It not necessarily. It's 4 attached to the 4 feet, and then 2 rings on one of its sidewalls and 2 on the other sidewalls, on the other sidewall. And we don't know what sidewall, if that's length or width. So we have 4 on the feet, 2 on each of the sidewalls, but we don't know which, if that's length or width sidewalls.
So if you go with Rashi, then the original 4 before the vav would be the length, and the sides then would be the widths. But if you go with Sforno, it would be just the opposite, because Sforno said the original rings were on the width, and the sides would have become the length.
You've lost me, but I'm going to take your word for it. I believe you. I'm confused.
Well, it's just that Sforno argues with Rashi about where those first 4 rings go.
Yeah.
One says the length side, and the other says the width side.
Wow.
Hey, Rabbi, would you like to use your computer to get them in the grave and find out what they meant?
I've been searching the whole time. I've been searching, but the bottom line is we don't have an agreement. I mean, that's the bottom line. We don't really know. But I had so I'm really glad that I figured that Ibn Ezra one out. That's how they get the 8. That was really bothering me. That little vav, God, that vav is so important, that little letter.
But we never do get to 16, right?
No, that I just pulled that out of my teeth.
Okay.
That's not. No,
Before you know it, there's going to be rings all over the ark.
All right, let's stop. Let's pick up at 13 next week. Is that kind of where we ended, I think?
Oh my God, it took an hour talking about that.
I always leave that to Dina to say.
Dina, is 13 a good place to start?
Well,
Or did we
we can
do
we can move on. I mean, we've talked about making the acacia wood and overlaying them with gold. That was 13.
About inserting
And then inserting them into the rings.
That's
Okay.
fine.
Oh my
I
goodness.
think we're ready to start 15.
All right,
Hey,
15
and
it is.
Everybody, if you turn the page, well, I'm sorry, in my book, can you see?
Yeah.
All righty.
No.
So Where is the foot? Is it the foot of the outer part of the ark?
Hold it up a little bit. Pick it up a tiny bit. And now talk.
Is that good?
Can't see the
That's.
bottom.
I still can't see the bottom of the page.
Yeah, I can't either.
Up, 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 up.
Up.
There you go.
It's gone.
No, but Mom,
No,
those
but
those boxes are all inside one another. They've just expanded the picture.
Well, they're inside when
But
you
the holes
put
are at
them
the-
inside of each other. But if you're attaching the rings to the outer gold portion before you put the, or as you're, I don't know, but the point is, are they talking about the foot of the outermost box?
They have to be.
Okay. I'm just as when
because
I saw the picture, it
everything's
just made me wonder. That's
So
all.
which verse are we starting on next time?
15.
13.
15.
15.
Yeah,
15.
we've done 13 and 14.
Oh, okay, good.
15 it is.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Yeah. See
Good
ya.
stuff
Bye-bye.
today. Good stuff. Bye.